going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Emily. I'm the Marketing Events Coordinator at Meetup. Today we are joined by special guest Lora DeVries, an intentional living expert and vision board teacher, for a lesson on New Year's intention setting. We will learn how to create intentions for your year ahead, choose an overall theme for how your year will look, and a step-by-step method to create a brain-based vision board that will get you results this year. So before we get into it, I'm just going to go over the guidelines and the agenda for today's event. So this event will be recorded, but don't worry, it will not appear in the video. You can only see Lora and I. There's also a mute courtesy, so your audio will be muted throughout this event. But if you do have questions, we want to hear them, and you can submit them in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. And closed captioning is also available. To turn it on, just click on the live transcription icon at the bottom of your screen and select your preference. So the quick agenda for today, just a 5-minute introduction right now, and then Lora will take it away with her presentation for 45 minutes, and then we'll do a Q&A session at the end for 10 minutes. Awesome. So before Lora takes it away, I'm just going to give her a quick introduction so you all can get to know her a little bit better. So Lora is an intentional living expert, a vision board teacher, mother, and entrepreneur. Her mission is to create a world where people live more intentional, present, and fulfilling lives. Lora combines her social work degree and passion for scientific-based findings to help others who are tired of living the hustle and bustle culture of the pre-pandemic life, to harness the power of your brains to invest in emotional wellness and create the life that you desire to live. Lora has been featured in some of the leading self-care websites like Tiny Buddha and Motherly, and her own featured series on Pinterest TV. When Lora is not living her passion, you can find her exploring nature with her 2 young daughters, and her husband and their dog, and they live in Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. So thank you so much, Lora, for being here. I cannot wait to see what you have for us, and I'll let you take it away.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, I will grab this here, screen share, and get my presentation up. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. And it was so amazing to see where all these people are from. This is so cool. So many places in the world that are on my bucket list to go to. So definitely Ireland and Scotland is on my bucket list as well, Emily. So hopefully I will be there soon as well. So I have a lot to go over today, so I'm going to jump right in and give you as much value as I can in the next 45 minutes. So today we're going to talk about going from vision to reality in 2023. So I'm going to cover just really briefly why intentional living, because this is kind of the crux of setting your intentions and then creating a theme and creating your brain-based vision board. So when you leave, you're going to have a really solid understanding of kind of this lifestyle and how you can create and keep your intentions by using these tools that I share with you. So what is intentional living, or sorry, why intentional living? Just going to move my little screen here for a second. Why intentional living? So the reason I really got into intentional living is because, like Emily said, I do have my degree in social work, and I see and work with mental health every single day and see what a need it is in our world. Just for a small fact, in 2019, 1 in every 8 people, or 970 million people around the world, were living with a mental disorder, mostly anxiety and depression. And initial estimates show that 26% and a 28% rise in 2020 after COVID. And that isn't even updated as of yet. So this was the most recent stat off the World Health Organization. So it's just something that I wanted to bring forward of why I think it's super important for people to learn about this. And then speaking about systems versus individuals, I just wanted to make a little disclaimer that there is so much going on in the world, and that it's not all on the individual, and there's so many changes that need to be done on the world, on government, on community changes, like a lot of systemic changes. However, you know how long all this stuff takes. So for me, it's making that conscious decision of what I can do on an individual level to enhance my mental health and emotional wellness today. And as the world continues to figure out how they can support mental health and emotional wellness. So today, I hope this will help you on your individual journey. So intentional living is backed by research, and more research is coming out, which is super exciting. But in the current studies that are published in medical journals, there are benefits such as lowering daily distress, having a greater sense of well-being, better ability to manage your stress, and it helps actually in managing depression. So I'm super excited about this because the one thing that came out of COVID, in my opinion, is the need for people to look at emotional wellness and mental health overall, and more studies are being conducted. So the thing is, though, we were never taught how to live intentionally or how to do this, because unfortunately, what a lot of us were taught was hustle, be super at everything at life, try to be that super parent, super spouse, super employee, work hard and play hard, keep up with the Joneses and your neighbors, and have that Instagrammable life. So it's not our fault. This is how we were raised, and then COVID kind of stopped all that and made us reevaluate stuff. And in my opinion, what we need as a society and individuals is we really need to learn how to slow down, to live from our core values and our life vision. So whatever you personally want for your life, putting your emotional and mental health first, and then only comparing yourself to your previous self instead of kind of keeping up with the Joneses mentality. Just comparing to yourself, where were you last year, the year before? How far have you come compared to where you were before? And then obviously, instead of an Instagrammable life, creating a life you love. So don't get sucked into all that materialistic stuff if that's not you. If you love, more nature or different things, just do you and create the life you love. So that is what we're taught, and in my opinion, what the world needs and what I'm going to speak to today. So just for food for thought, the average life expectancy is 78 years, while the retirement age is 67. We work for 50 years to maybe enjoy 11. So we need to start enjoying life right now, because no one is guaranteed tomorrow. And I just wanted to let this sink in. And I'm not saying go quit your job, because obviously in these economic times, we need the financial security that we have. However, it's just that food for thought of how can you make your life the best it can be in the situation you are in? So I hope that just kind of resonates. I'm definitely a big person for kind of quotes and examples. So this one always has stuck out to me, and just as that reminder of how I can keep my life happy in the now while still kind of focusing on the future. So what is intentional living? Intentional living, in a nutshell, is a lifestyle that helps you shut off that autopilot mode that we can so often get into and tune into kind of the magnificence and messiness of life. So it's really becoming consciously aware of how you're reacting to situations that are thrown at you, and really focusing on what is in your circle of control and what is outside of your circle of control. That is a really big part of intentional living, is focusing on what you can control and what you can't control. And then it's making those daily decisions based on the bigger picture of how to live your life. And, to put it another way, it's living life by your why. So examining your why, why are you in the career you're in right now? Why are you in the relationship? Does it bring joy? Does it bring happiness? Why do you live where you live? For example, for me, 8 years ago, I hated where I lived. I was in this big city in Canada, and I'm not a city girl. I am a country girl at heart. And I moved to Vancouver Island. And, after I started questioning that why am I in this city? And then I made that transition slowly to where I want to live. And why do you surround yourself with the people you surround yourself with? These again are just these like little prompting questions about intentional living to get you kind of digging deeper into what you really want in life. And in the next slide, I apologize. Oh, I do have share sound. I just want to show a little video. It's not a video, it's not a story that I made. It is a metaphor that you may have heard before, but I did create a physical video to show you, to help you understand kind of this idea of intentional living. So I will play it. Again, I didn't make this up. I don't know who made it up. It's on the internet, but it's a really good visual representation of what intentional living is. Oh, sorry, let's go to that one.
A teacher once stood up before his class with a large empty jar. He filled the jar up to the top with large rocks and asked his students if the jar was full. The students said that yes, the jar was indeed full. He then added some small pebbles to the jar and gave the jar a bit of a shake so the pebbles could disperse themselves. He then asked, "Is it full?" They all agreed yes. The professor then poured sand into the jar to fill up any remaining space. The students then agreed that the jar was completely full. Think of the big rocks as the most important things in your life, like your core values, your emotional and physical health, and relationships. Then you look at the pebbles as stuff that brings meaning to your life, but you could live without: hobbies, house, job, friendship. And the sand as the filler, the stuff that we kind of zone out on. So what is the lesson here? It's that if you focus on filling up all your time with the small stuff, the insignificant stuff that you could really live without and you don't need for a fulfilling life, then you won't have room for the big rocks that really matter, the meaningful stuff. And this is why intentional living is so important.
So that was just a super quick video that I made because it just, again, helps you kind of dig deeper in what are you filling up with your life first? What are your big rocks? Are you filling up your life with them first, putting them in the jar first? Or are you kind of putting the sand and the pebbles in first and then your big rocks? And it's not to say that the sand and the pebbles aren't important, because obviously, you know, our job and house and stuff like that is important. However, the overall joy you get out of life and what, you know, living is for and your happiness are those big rocks. So again, just something for you to think about. And the slide I skipped over, it was just about my belief and mission. And it's really my mission and belief that everyone should be living an intentional lifestyle, individuals, businesses, and governments, because the more that we can do this, we are going to role model it to the younger generations. And then that will hopefully help this mental health crisis and emotional wellness crisis to teach them from a young age how to live these lives. So I really see it as our duty as, you know, adults to really embrace this so we can make a difference and change the other younger generations. So let's get into the 3 things that we are going to learn about. So how to set and keep your intentions. So this year, I really want you to switch and change this mindset of going from resolutions to intentions and really experience the difference. So I don't know about you, but before I used to always make New Year's resolutions, right? The stereotypical, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Oh, I'm going to get more fit, or, oh, I'm going to do this or that. And then, you know, 3 weeks in, February comes, all of a sudden I'm off, you know, the high of making that new goal has gone and I'm not digging it. And I'm in this self-loathing. I feel bad about myself. Why do I even try mode? And, you know, before I know it, I'm like elbow deep in my bag of dill pickle chips and just saying, well, what's the point? So I don't know if you can relate. I hope you can, because that definitely happened to me a lot. And this is why changing your view from intentions to goal, or from goals, to intentions in terms of your New Year's resolutions and what you want for the year is going to have a really big impact on keeping them. Okay. So let's get into goals. So goals are primarily future focused. they often focus on kind of that materialistic destination or tangible achievement, right? Like, I want to lose this amount of weight, or I want to make this amount of money. And they often create these self-imposed deadlines, expectations, and measurements of what success looks like. And those are all made by you, right? So if your goal is, I'm going to lose, and sorry, I'm just using the lose weight one just because it's such a broad one and lots of people use it, or be healthier, right? And you don't do it by, that date, whatever that date is, March 25th, you haven't lost the 10 pounds, you can kind of spiral out into that, like, I'm not good enough and good and bad mentality. And I'm not saying goals and SMART goals are not important, because they 100% are, right? There are time and place for goals and SMART goals. However, when looking at your year, this is, I really want you to think or consider making intentions. So why? What are intentions? Intentions are focused on the present moment. They're a way of being every day and give you a deeper sense of purpose. They do not emit those deadlines, the pressures of winning or losing, and they really keep us aligned with our core values and what matters in life. And really, it is the first step in creating your life story and the next story of the next chapter in your story. So why? Because everything starts with an intention. So me, like, picking up my glass of water right now and having a drink, I have an intention. I'm going to pick up my water and get it, right? I have an intention to go buy this glass, to go to the tap, to fill it up with water. So everything, right? I'm going to wiggle my toes. It's an intention. I'm going to text my friend. They can be as little as that, or large, like lifelong or yearly intentions. Intentions are also the guiding principle. They help us to show up in our everyday lives, moment by moment, day by day, year by year, and remind us of what matters most. And intentions are rooted in your core values of really what you stand for in life and, what is important to you. So why create intentions? So they show you who and what you want. So who you want to be in your world, how you want to contribute to your family, your community, and yourself. They help you be in the present while still focusing on the future. And they help you make those conscious decisions moment by moment in how you are choosing to show up each day, while still taking those steps towards kind of the life you want. And they really keep you grounded while you grow. So they focus on your positive impacts each day, and it helps you kind of pivot. Like, when you come back to your intentions, they help you pivot when you need to pivot and readjust, instead of just kind of like giving up, like sometimes the goals and resolutions do, because that's just how, a lot of us unfortunately work, right? So I found by setting intentions, this is a different way to get around this. So again, just a quick overview. Intentions focused on the present focused. I am happy now. My life isn't perfect now. I still want to be like here, but I am going to enjoy right now, and then slowly start moving to the person I want to be. Where goals is more like future focused. I'll be happy when I lose those 10 pounds or when I get that money. And then intentions, a way of being each day, a deeper sense of purpose. And goals sometimes are more materialistic destination or tangible achievements. Again, not bad. Just for our year, we want to look at the intentions. And then intentions keep us aligned with our core values, what really matters. And the goals sometimes create those self-imposed deadlines and kind of what success looks like in our belief system, and can kind of leave us not feeling the greatest if we don't achieve them. And when we do achieve them, it's kind of like, okay, well, what's next? Whereas intentions, it's kind of this like constant in your life. So how do you create intentions? So I am going to go over my 5-step process on how to create intentions. I do have a free workbook that I definitely go way deeper in, but in this 45 minutes, I'm going to crunch in as much as I can. But if you want to go deeper, Emily's going to drop the link in the chat, and definitely feel free to check that out, bookmark it or whatever, sign up if you want to go deeper. But you will get the overview of everything today. So step 1, reflect and reconnect. Step 2, choose an overarching theme. Step 3, create identity-based statements. Step 4, take actions for alignment. And step 5, review and realign. So we're going to go over each one of these steps so that you have a great idea about how this works, okay? So step 1, just going to take a little drink here, is reflect and reconnect. So in order to move forward, you must understand kind of where you are now and where you have been last year. So it's not to focus on what went wrong last year. It's to determine adjustments and where you are and what starting point you want and where you want to go. So for example, if you had a really tough year and you didn't really care for yourself, maybe you need stuff more around self-care, stability. If you were really feeling numb and really stuck, maybe you need an intention around like reigniting your passion or self-discovery. Or if your last year went by in a blink and you're like, holy geez, how is it 2023? Maybe you need to focus on slowing down, being more present, and being more intentional. So that's the first step, reflect. Step 2, choose your yearly theme. We are going to get into this in a few minutes, but overall, it is just choosing an overarching theme for your year, and it's giving yourself kind of like this mantra and guide to help you move moment by moment through life, and kind of that umbrella to help you make decisions. And again, I'll get into that a little more in a few here. Step 3 is create identity-based statements. So by focusing on your identity, you allow yourself to make conscious and subconscious shifts based on how you are showing up each moment and who you are being. So often when we go into goal setting or New Year's resolutions, we talk about kind of our areas of life, right? So we talk about kind of our family, our career, our money, our health, our spiritual, like all these areas of life. But we don't really talk about the identities we hold within those areas of life. So like if family, you're making a resolution around family, like what type of parent or spouse or sibling or sister or daughter or mother do you want to be? You know, if you are making it in your career, what type of employee, employer, entrepreneur, like what type of person do you want to show up as in that area of life? And again, I go really deep into this in the free workbook and give tons of examples. So it's just this kind of, again, this shift in how you look at creating your resolutions instead of the areas of who you want to be, because this is what the brain needs to kind of believe and keep going, which I'll get into as well in a little bit. So step 4 is take intentional action. So we don't want to just set intentions, because I know there's like this misconception that intentions are like, oh, people just set them and then they're all like, oh, and think that they will just come true. No. There is a process. You want to create intentional actions under each identity you focus on, because this will provide you with guidelines to continue to evolve into your ideal self. So for example, like one of my, over the past few years, as I'm a fairly new mom, is, you know, being that intentional parent and present parent. So that's kind of the identity that I want, is being this really like present mom. And then one of the intentional actions that I take is putting down my phone when my kids are playing on the floor, right? So being really consciously aware of putting down my phone. So it's not like a SMART goal that I'm going to put my phone down at this time for this many hours or whatever. It is just that overarching, I want to be a more present mother. So guess what? When my girls are playing on the floor or I'm doing something and I catch myself like doing the scroll thing, I'm going to put down my phone. And this is where you can realign. When I would find myself, you know, on my phone and not paying attention, then I would remember, oh, it's my intention. I'm not being that person, that parent I want to be. So I would put down my phone. So again, just an example, and tons of examples in the workbook if needed. And then step 5 is reviewing and realigning. So this reaffirms your identity for your brain to create new neural networks, and while helps you continually to take aligned action to embody that ideal life, which with each choice you make. So again, it's just like, what went really well today? What went really well this week? What didn't go so well? Oh, well, I was on my phone actually way more than I needed to be today. So guess what? I'm going to try to be really conscious of that tomorrow. So again, it's just continually checking in with yourself based on those intentions. So the science of this, on top of my social work degree, I am super passionate and geek out on neuroscience. And I have a lot of mentors that are neurophysicists and neuropsychologists. And they all tell me the brain speaks in beliefs. So in order to create beliefs about who you are, we need to keep those identities, and that's what's going to help us kind of rewire and start believing and acting how we want to be. So I really want you to think about who you want to be and how you want to show up in the world versus, you know, again, I want to lose 10 pounds. How do you want to be as a parent? How do you want to be as healthy, right? How would you feel when you lost that weight? Would you be able to like play with your kids without getting out of breath? Would you be able to run a marathon? You know, just digging deeper into that. Okay, so do's and don'ts. Make sure you say it in the positive. So you really want to focus on the positive, because again, your brain works in beliefs. And if you put in the negative, like I want to get out of debt, instead you want to say, I want to be financially savvy, or I want to increase my financial education, right? I want to learn more about money. So really put it in the positive. Don't focus on what you don't want, focus on what you want. Keep it simple, aligned with your core values. You don't want to make an intention because you think you should, right? Make it. Take the time to really figure out what you want. And then put the work in to learning how to change your beliefs. Honestly, it is a game changer. Learning about this stuff is so important to your mental, emotional wellness. And don't ignore the inner work. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but nobody's going to do this work for you except you. So give yourself the gift of self-reflection and growth, because you will never, ever regret it. Okay, so how do we create a theme? So creating a theme for your year is, again, kind of like that umbrella of what you want your year to be. It's a single word or phrase that captures what you want to focus on, what you may need more of, or what you need to improve on in the coming months. So why do you need a theme? It really helps you keep focused, because you know, when you start getting off track in February and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not working, you go back to like, what is my theme of the year? And it kind of takes that bigger picture. Okay, well, I really want to slow down this year. So should I be going and doing XYZ? Or maybe I should say no to this event. Or if it's creating better boundaries, right? Like, and someone asks you to do something, you got to stop and be like, okay, my overall theme is better boundaries. So how can I make a decision based on that? Again, it guides your decisions. Is it aligned with my theme? That's how I create, like, it helps me make decisions and helps me to say no, because I don't know if there's any other people pleasers out there, but I have definitely a hard time saying no. So this helps me to say no, because I'm staying aligned with what I want that year. And it just keeps you intentional and helps you build those habits, because it's bringing that awareness back to what you really want. So how do you create a theme of the year? Well, I will show you in 3 steps. It is pretty actually easy. You do have to do a bit of thinking and self-reflection, but that's why you're here. You signed up and you're here because you want to learn how to do this stuff. So step 1, reflect. If you're creating your intentions, you're already doing that. So you're looking back on 22 and you're really looking through a lens of curiosity. You don't want to be really hard on yourself, like what went wrong. You just want to see like what you could pivot at, right? We don't want to be hard on ourselves, because we all have some years that are awesome and some years that are like, so you really want to show yourself self-compassion, see what kind of you might want to pivot on, what you want more of or less of in your life. So some ideas are like around more love, self-care, better boundaries, more social connections, maybe getting in touch with spirituality. Maybe you want more courage to do something, more gratitude in your life. Like, these are just the things, like, do you have that in your life and what do you want more of? Step 2 is kind of just reconnecting and being that scientist of your life. Like, I love being the scientist of my life. Like, why is this happening? Why am I thinking this? Why is my brain like going on hyperdrive right now? Why can't I figure this out? So really, we all are in different seasons of our life, right? So some of you may be starting new families, starting new careers. Some of you may, be empty nesters. Some of you may be getting married, getting divorced, right? We're all at different seasons. So reconnect where you are in what season you are in and think of it from that point of view. So if you are kind of like in the buying a new house, getting married, maybe a baby, new career, new pets, maybe your theme of the year is like new beginnings or like my next chapter or embracing changes. Whereas if you're maybe working on your relationships and you're establishing your career, maybe you're creating a business, maybe your theme is setting the foundations or managing your mindset or grounding myself. And then one that I definitely went through years ago was the self-love piece. I really struggled with that. So my theme for one whole year was all about the year of me, self-evolution and self-discovery. So really focus on that one theme that's you're going to create your intentions under, and it's really going to take out a lot of the stress of creating resolutions and help you kind of move forward and making like the decisions each day. And then third step is just align, narrow down your choices to the top, like 5 or 6 or whatever you feel good about, and just sit on it for a few days, right? Don't get stuck on picking the perfect word for any of the perfectionists in here. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can slowly shift if you need, but the main thing is you want kind of that umbrella of what you want to focus on. So, yeah, again, it's kind of giving yourself that time. So when I do this each year, I kind of pick out the top few, 5 or 6, like I said, I'll sit on it for a few days, see what really resonates, let it kind of harbor in my brain, and then I move forward from there. So I hope this helps. On my blog, I do have some words, but again, in the workbook, there's tons. And in my course that I'll be sharing about later, I have a download in there as well with tons and tons and tons of ideas for this. Okay, so into the last part. I'm just checking my time here. Perfect. I am throwing a lot at you. I hope you're keeping up, and I look forward to some questions. If there's anything that you're just like, what is she talking about? But the next step is creating your brain-based vision board. Okay, so a brain-based vision board is a lot deeper than kind of just like a vision board. So often people think of vision boards and they're like, oh yeah, it's just like pasting pictures on a piece of paper and you put it up and like it doesn't work, right? And unfortunately, like that has happened, and it had happened to me before. And this is why I wanted to figure this out, because 1, I love making vision boards, and 2, it's based in science. So what are vision boards? What vision boards are not first. So they are not some sort of magical board that you put up and poof, all your dreams come true, okay? Unfortunately, movies like The Secret and some of the mystical stuff has put that idea into people's heads, and sometimes they get a bad rep, right? But if you're here, you obviously are like me, where you want to know the logical, because vision boards are not just for people who believe in the woo, right? Or the whimsical. There is scientific brain-based studies on how creating vision boards and using visualization rewires your brain. And again, they are not should boards. You don't want to just put up a picture because you feel like you should do it. I've done that in the past, doesn't work, still in the same position 12 months later. So what is a vision board? So I view vision board as a powerful self-development tool to kind of keep my goals and intentions in focus. Okay, so it's just this visual representation of how I want to live my life, and kind of this almost roadmap for my brain. Because I don't know about you, but again, self-disclosure, this is definitely a pattern that I've been in. It's like, I am so motivated. Yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I try really hard. And then stuff isn't kind of happening, or, you know, life throws some messiness at me and I get off track, and then I give up and I'm like, okay, what's the point? I don't want to do this anymore. Then I feel really bad about myself. I go into that self-loathing cycle. You know, for me, it's that bag of dill pickle chips. And then I stop. And, you know, I fill up my time with the sand that we were talking about, right? I scroll on social media, I start comparing, I start getting resentful, you know. Then slowly I pick myself back up, and I start over. And it's this constant cycle. But with creating vision boards, this helps me, and creating vision boards the right way with all the other stuff that I've talked about helps me to get out of that pattern a lot faster. Because I'm not going to lie, sometimes I still get in it. We're all human, but it helps me really get myself out of it so much quicker. So vision boards keep your intentions prioritized. They are a visual roadmap for your brain to follow and a powerful tool in your self-development toolkit. Okay, and now for just a brief intro on the brain-based stuff. Again, the brain speaks in beliefs. So I just wanted to share this one study by Dr. Biasiato, hopefully I pronounced that right, from the University of Chicago. He took 3 groups of people and he got them to do basketball free throws, okay? And he measured it. He then split them into 3 groups. Group 1 practiced the free throw every day for an hour for 30 days. Group 2 sat at home and visualized in their brain. They didn't go to the gym, they didn't touch a basketball. They visualized that free throw and getting the free throw in for 30 days. And the next group, well, they did nothing. 30 days later, he comes back and he does his tests. And group 1, the ones that were physically in the gym doing the free shot, improved by 24%. Okay. Group 2, the ones that were mentally rehearsing, they call it, or visualizing it, like literally sitting at the chair in your couch right now, just visualizing the shot, improved by 23%. What? Like they weren't even in the gym. They improved by 23%, and the other people that were in the gym improved by 24%. So it just shows you how powerful visualization can be. And this is a tool that many sports psychologists use to help elite athletes. And obviously the group that did nothing didn't improve. So I just wanted to share that with you because there is a power of visualization. So it helps you, the more you can get clear on your visualization, the more your brain will create those neural pathways to get you there, because your brain is made up of millions of like highways of neural networks. And when you start creating these, you're creating these new highways. And the more you quote unquote practice your visualization, the faster your brain will create these new highways and neural pathways to get you there. Again, this is just a super brief overview. I do go into a lot more detail in my brain-based vision board course. So if you're interested, I believe Emily's going to put the link in there. If you are interested, we will deep dive into how that works and how vision boards are a tool as part of your self-development game. So let's go into how can you make a vision board that works. So obviously people see vision boards. These are actually pictures of my vision boards. And I always see that there's 2 types of vision boards. So I always create a life vision board, which is kind of like my 3 to 5 year, you know, sometimes I used to do 5 to 10, but now I do 3 to 5 year life vision for what I want to accomplish, you know, where I want to go the next chapter. And then I do my yearly vision board of like what I want to do this year. So I'm going to just show you a couple here. You can see them in the pictures though, but like this was one of my life vision boards, right? It was just really who I wanted to be. It was a time in my life where I wasn't present at all. I wasn't taking accountability for my actions, stuff like that. So that was what I really wanted to focus on for those couple years. So that was one of them. My most recent one is nice and big one here is my 3 to 5 year vision. Again, a life vision with different aspects of my life on it. I even put pictures of myself. I have pictures of like my house, my kids on it. And then I have other pictures. And on the back, I create what kind of the overall vision is for my life vision, and I write them down, and I obviously date the board. That's a huge tip. And again, on my website, you can see all of this. I have tons of posts on this. And then my yearly vision board might look more like focused, kind of like this is a really old one I have from 2014, but it might be really focused on like doing a half marathon, really getting into running, yoga, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's kind of those smaller intentions that I want to get done in the year. So hopefully that helps with that. And let's see, so for your vision board, for your yearly, because we're going to focus on the yearly today, you want to map out your intentions for 2023. So go over kind of those things I talked to you about and map that out of what you want. Ask yourself those questions. If you need the more journal prompts, download my free workbook and it will help you. Then you want to create the space. You want to create the physical space and the emotional space if you are creating a hard copy one, right? Because one, they take up a lot of room, and two, you really want to kind of sit on it. And like, it takes me a bit to make my vision board. So I just want to have that space that I can kind of spread out and keep them there. Then you want to find photos, words that evoke emotional responses. If you don't have old magazines, not to worry. There's so many places to find imagery right now, like on the internet. You can just go to any site, download, print. There's also vision board packs that people sell of curated photos. So I actually do that on my Etsy shop. You can find like curated photos and then take it to your local printer. And then you have a whole stack of photos to pick from, and just pick the ones that really evoke an emotional response. Then you want to create a structure, group into different areas of your life. So obviously do what feels right for you. But for me, like I kind of group similar areas together, right? Like kind of business stuff together, materialistic stuff together, family stuff together, and health stuff together, right? So then you just really assemble, glue, and listen to your intuition. And again, the whole process would usually take about, 2 to 3 hours. However, I really take like over a week to do it because I like to sit on it. I like to kind of arrange my pictures. I like to go rearrange, you start getting into those like icky mindsets, and you want to stop doing it and come back when you're in like a better energy place. So here's just a quick list of stuff you need. I won't go over it just for time's sake, but it's pretty self-explanatory. And if you just Google or go to my website, I have these lists up here too, if you want to make a physical one. Now, if you wanted to do a digital board, because I get it, we're not all crafty, and sometimes you don't have the time and you're like, I am not crafty and I'm not down with doing that. You can totally make a vision board super easily digitally. So Canva is definitely the one I recommend. It's a free program and it's so easy to use and fast. I'll show you in the next slide point. The next one is a Pinterest vision board, right? If you're a Pinterest person, total Pinteresty over here, just make a secret board, put all your life visions in, and start that process of getting your brain thinking about what you want. I usually do it secret, so it's only me that can see it. And then it kind of just keeps that going. Another way is just on your smartphone, create a collage on your smartphone, plenty of apps. I mean, they're not as nice with the words and the pictures and everything, but it definitely does the trick. So here's an example of one done on Canva, super simple, super easy. I put it on my phone screensaver and voila. Or if you do a physical one, you could just take a picture and put it on your screensaver. So if you are in Canva, you just go, they have tons of free photos, even in the free version. You pick it, you drag and drop it, or you download photos that you want from other sites like Shutterstock, Creative Market, Pexels, and then just upload them to Canva. You find a mood board template you like on Canva. So just search mood board, and then you just drag and drop the photos. Super simple, super easy. You can do it very quickly. Hey, and I just want to, we're wrapping this up here, end on a story, because again, I really like stories of the sidewalk of life. So I walked down the street. Again, this is a story, not by me, it's by Portia Nelson, sorry. And she calls it the chapters of life. Chapter 1, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I still don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I am in the same place. It isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there and I still fall in. It's a habit now. It is my fault. I know where I am and I get out immediately. Chapter 4, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk and I walk around it. And chapter 5, I walk down a different street. So I just love this quick autobiography in 5 chapters, because I really feel like so many people can relate to it. I can, like, so much. And I just want, again, for you to ponder, what chapter are you on and what chapter do you want to be on? So that's the key, again, to intentional living. So key takeaways here, my screen over here. Take the time to figure out what you really want. Create the theme for your year ahead and set these powerful intentions that are aligned with what you want, not just what you think you should want. And then if you want that extra self-development tool, create that brain-based vision board as part of your self-development toolkit. And I love how Richie Norton says, intentional living is the art of making our own choices before others' choices make us. So I really hope this presentation helped. If you are interested, I definitely just wanted to let you know, if you want to go deeper, for anyone on this call, you can use the code Meetup Live for 50% off my brain-based vision board course that really dives deeper and helps you create a lifelong self-development toolkit that you are going to want to do every year. Like, I am super excited to do my 2023 board. I've started thinking about it, but I haven't done it yet. And it's become this, like, self-care, self-discovery tool that I do every year. So thank you. I think we are right on time, hopefully, Emily. Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you so much for doing this. I learned so much. I mean, I need to go and make my vision board. I actually plan on doing it this weekend. So I'll report back. I'll take your tips and I'll be doing that. And before we get into the Q&A, I just want to share your resources. I know you have some of your resources on the screen right now, but I'm also going to just put them in the chat so people can keep up with you and follow along on all of your platforms. So they're in there now. And we have lots of questions, so we're going to go ahead and dive in. Let's see. So first question. Janice asked, is it okay to create a broad theme for your year? Just like, for example, being my best self.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the more little specificer you can get, the better. Because, like, what does your best self look like, right? Like, so you say being my best self, but, like, what does that look like in terms of your life, right? Like, in terms of being whatever role you are. Yeah, do you define best self as, like, being more present? Do you define it being giving more? Like, I would dig just a tad deeper, but it's definitely 100% a starting point.
Awesome. Let's see. Marco asked, you mentioned that setting intentional life points will boost neuron production. Can you elaborate on how this happens?
Yeah, so again, this goes into all the kind of neuroscience of the brain. So the brain speaks in beliefs, and when we create these beliefs about ourselves and the identities that we want to have, and we start embracing them, it's starting to create those new neural pathways. So without getting into it too much, like 90% of our life, they say 90 to 95% of our life is run on autopilot. It's the kind of all these neural networks that have been ingrained in us since pretty much childhood, right? We have, all have our own experiences and beliefs about who we are and what we can do and how we see the world. And 90 to 95% of our day is run off of those. So what we're doing with setting these intentions is that we're trying to kind of shift some of those neural networks and some of those beliefs that maybe aren't serving us anymore to a newer intention. So obviously there's more to just setting intentions, right? Like I kind of said, it's not like the vision board thing where it's like, You do it and then poof, your life changes. But it's one of the steps to get you there and kind of start creating those new neural networks. And you're telling your brain, look at this one's not doing it for me anymore. And I want it, this is what I want it to look like. So does that kind of help?
Yeah.
A very brief overview.
Yeah, I think that helps. It's so interesting learning the neuroscience behind this all, because before this, I just thought, intention setting, you put it on, like you were saying, put it on paper, it'll happen. No, you got
So
to
amazing.
work.
Yeah. And I did just want to share, like, I'm not an affiliate or anything, but Dr. Shannon Irvin is a neuro PhD person that does this. And if you are an entrepreneur wanting to start a business or anything like that, I definitely recommend checking out her site. She has like changed my world. So Dr. Shannon Irvin.
Great, thank you. Nick asked, vision boards, should they be viewable somewhere on a daily basis?
Yeah, so everyone, I love this question because everyone is different, right? So for me, I have it up in my bedroom where I see it all the time. And I do encourage people to see it, like put it where they see it all the time. But sometimes when we see it all the time, it's like when you're in your house and you just kind of skim over stuff, you don't really look at it. Do you know what I mean? Like when you have pictures on your wall and you go past it every day, you don't really see it. So there's different schools of thought on this. And I think you have to just test it out and do what's right for you. So for me, even though I have it somewhere where I see it every day, I make the conscious effort to really look at it kind of like once a week, because let's be honest, I kind of pass by it every day, but then I make that conscious effort to really look at it. But I have heard other people that really make it and then they put it away and they don't look at it for a few months, if not even a year. For me, that doesn't work because I feel like it's putting a little too much into the like woo and just believing it will happen. So for me personally, I'm not a big fan of that. So I would recommend definitely spending at least, once a week looking at it. And then obviously there's other brain-based tools to help you get there faster that I didn't go over in this course, but like there's different stuff to do that. But I would definitely be consciously looking at it every so often.
Yeah, and that's manageable. You're not saying you got to look at it and stare at it and, analyze it every single day for 30 minutes.
Totally. And yeah, and sorry, the best time to look at it is before you go to bed, because brain science tells us that is when our brain is starting to categorize stuff and it's in our subconscious mind, like stuff's going on when we're sleeping. So if you can, the best time to look at it is before night and really kind of do that visualization practice of how you want your life to look.
That's great to know. Ravi asked, do you involve others in creating your vision board?
Oh, you guys have such great questions. Yeah, you can. So yeah, if you're like married or have a partner or spouse, you can join in them. So on my recent life vision here, there's like a picture of a car. Anyways, that's my husband's car. It's not mine, but I involved him in our life vision because we've been married for quite a time now. And I asked him, like, what do you see in our life vision? What's important to you? And that was something that was important to him, is to have his like car finished. So in terms of that, 100% you can involve them in your goals. However, you can't make anyone do anything, right? So like you can't say, oh, I want my spouse or partner to do X, Y, Z, and I'm going to put that on my vision board, right? Like it has to be about you. And if you want to involve someone, cool, but you can't like make someone else do something, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Okay.
Kidding. Mary asked, well, first she said, wonderful process for year ending / new year intention setting. What do you recommend a few things to keep up with your intentions throughout the year?
Yeah, this is such a great question because I have found like many students in the past ask us like, how do I stay motivated? Right? Like, and yeah, that's a hard part. It's like, okay, I did all this, but how do I do it? And I think it's really that like kind of deciding in advance and constantly reminding yourself of that umbrella theme that you have and of that person you want to do, right? So like, it's not, so like when I first started doing this and I did find myself, so I use the example of being on the phone, right? With my daughters, like there was one point where that was my intention. And then, I found myself getting really agitated and and I just wasn't in a good mental state. And I did notice I was on my phone too much, because that's my go-to. Oh, I'm agitated, I'm going to zone out and just like scroll, right? So it's really bringing that conscious awareness to the life you want. And I mean, I wish it was a simpler answer. I wish it was like an easy button, but it is kind of having that conscious awareness. And that's where the vision board, go look at your vision board, go look at your, like, I talk about making a life vision, like knowing that bigger picture will help you kind of keep motivated and take those daily steps. Yeah, I wish there was like an easy button, but, and again, just kind of delving into the self-development, like Atomic Habits by James Clear is a great book. Like there's so many great podcasts you can listen to kind of keep you motivated.
Yeah, I mean, that was helpful just in itself. I was going to say, before you even mentioned your example, I did like your example of actually being intentional and present when you're on your phone and noticing that, like, oh, I told myself I wouldn't be on my phone as much. Maybe I should put it down. Like, do I really need to be on it right now? So that's a good way to keep up with it throughout the year, because it's easy to forget.
Well, yeah. And if you want to be more targeted on that, you can even give yourself like, okay, I'm going to give myself an hour a day to scroll, because like, let's be honest, it's a way to like decompress. I'm going to give myself an hour a day, and I'm going to chunk it up into like whatever 20-minute sections 3 times a day, or whatever the math is. I'm social worker, I can't do math. Right? Then you chunk it down. And then you kind of try to stay by that. But again, don't be super hard on yourself that if you went over an hour on a certain day, be like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to be on my phone forever. No, just like realign and reset. And the next day, try to get back onto it. So.
Love it. All right. So we have time for one more question.
Perfect.
Let's see what we got. Let's see. Emma asked, is there any evidence that 1 year is a good length for a cycle, or should it be, or are shorter or longer periods just as powerful?
Yeah, that's, oh my gosh, you guys just have the best question. Yeah, so it is, honestly, I have not heard of any evidence that like a year is the best thing, or shorter cycles, right? So I have heard of like many people in this space that do it every quarter. If they're like an entrepreneur, they do it every 3 months. So it's definitely more like kind of goal focused. For me, I do it every year because I just find like the year goes by so fast, and it kind of still has pressure on me, but less pressure, if that makes sense. So it's honestly up to you. And it doesn't have to be done the 1st of January, right? Like if you're kind of like, I want to do it, but then you don't do it, like it can be done in the summer. It can be done whenever, for however long. So for my life vision board, I say 3 to 5 years. I'm hoping I get it in 3, but it's kind of that overarching, like this is the big stuff that realistically will take that long, right? Like it'll take a little longer to get there. And then I do the yearly. So kind of a roundabout answer, sorry, Emma, that it's kind of like, it's honestly up to you. If you want to move faster, you can definitely try the like quarterly or every 6-month intervals, or do the year. I haven't found any evidence on that, but I should actually look into it. So
Awesome. Well, I did say we had one more, but I found another one that I really want.
Okay.
So sorry we're out of time, but I just really want to get to this one. I think it'll be helpful. MD asked, will it be okay to go back to old vision boards and recreate around it? Or will that hold me back? Should I let go of that and make a new one?
So I recommend making a new one. The reason why was, so I did that exact same thing. So I went back to my vision board and I was like, okay, I did not like accomplish any of this because I didn't create it right. Then I went and I cut it all up and I created it into a new vision board. The thing that kind of like disappointed me in that is that now I couldn't go back and look at that vision board that I had, right? So yeah, I really think building a new one upon that old one, because it's going to show you how far you came to. So if you have an old one, MD, that was from a few years ago or something, and you've achieved some of the stuff on it, take that off and then make the new one. Because honestly, like you can't see my table right now, but I have like 10 vision boards spread out here, and it's so cool to see, right, like how far you've come and where you maybe need to adjust. And I'm not gonna lie, there's some of my vision boards that I had the thing multiple years, right? Because I focused on different areas and then I didn't get to that one goal. So I brought it forward to the next one, but I did make a new vision board.
That's a great point. I
Yeah.
honestly did not think of that. And you mentioned too before putting the years on them, which is great. So you can look back on all of them and see where you're going and where you came from.
Yeah, the year and the so here's like, it doesn't have to be pretty, right? Like here's like one from 2014, like the black was what I really wanted. Like I just put kind of the intentions down. And then at the end of 2014, the red is like what I did and what I didn't do, right? So I have some check marks and I have some that were like, okay, like it's a halfie. Like I didn't really do yoga as much as I wanted to do yoga. So, you know, like it's that way of being intentional and kind of using it as a tool to see where you come. And again, comparing yourself to where you have been and where you are now.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for all of your tips. You really provided us with so much information today. I'm just going to share a few slides before we go. So Meetup is now on TikTok. You can check us out by following our handle at Meetup. And we post really fun and engaging content. You won't want to miss out on it. So give us a follow. And we also have a podcast, Keep Connected with Meetup CEO David Siegel. David talks with Meetup organizers as well as thought leaders in community and connection. This might help you with some of your New Year's intentions. So you might want to check it out in the new year. You can scan the QR code and give it a listen.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be, part of this community. And just thank you for letting me
We
share.
love having you. And if anybody wants a recap of this event, it will be on our Community Matters blog in a few days at meetup.com/blog. So thank you again. Have a great rest of your day, whatever time it is where you're at. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.